Climate Wisdom from COP30 Belém.
So welcome to our Climate Wisdom live stream directly from COP30 Belém, Brazil. We bring together delegates from the area of faith, civil society, science, and policymakers in order to care, share, and inspire. My name is Sonja Ohlsson. I'm from the Brahma Kumaris Environment Initiative, and I will be your moderator tonight. This climate change conference is being called the Implementation COP, and it's actually more than 3 decades ago since the UNFCCC was launched, and it was in the Rio Earth Summit. And now we are back in Brazil, and everyone is saying it's time we finish the negotiations and talking and start bringing action into focus. So the theme for tonight is leadership, and for action you need leadership. So tonight I have Fraga with me. Most welcome from Salvador. You're from the Salvador Council.
Yes.
Most welcome. And I have Maureen Goodman.
Hello.
And Program Director from the Brahma Kumaris in the UK. So our distinguished guests, you're most welcome, and your own leaders in your own right. So let's see how much action we can bring on the table here tonight together.
Yes.
Yes. So Andrea, we'll start with you. You are a Brazilian environmental engineer, and you're currently serving the second term in the city council in Salvador. You've been to COP conferences before, but you also chair the Committee on Climate Emergency and Innovation Sustainability. But how serious is actually climate change? How much emergency is there? And what advice would you give to the listeners here tonight in terms of emergency?
Well, good night for everyone. Maureen, Sonja, thanks for the invitation to talk about these so important things that we're trying to try to act about. Well, in last week here in Brazil, we had a region of Brazil in the south of Brazil that we had the worst
Flooding.
tornadoes in the history of Brazil. People died, people get hurt. An entire city was completely destroyed. So I don't know what to say more about emergencies, right? People are dying, people are losing everything they buy in their lives. People are losing the people that they love. People are losing the city that they live in, also they love. And when we lose the city where we live, we also lose our culture, because the places where we meet ourselves. So I think this tornado, and last year we have the greatest. Do not like to call it disaster, because we know what is happening. But to have a big disaster in south of Brazil also, with houses 3 months under the water, the airports under the water. So this is an emergency. And I don't know how to say more, to be more clear how it's emergency. What do I say? You ask me what do I say?
What advice to the listeners in terms of emergency?
Do something.
Act.
Mobilize yourself, mobilize others, pressure politicians, pressure governments. Do something, because, as you said in the beginning, we need to act. We need to implement the agenda of climate change.
Thank you very much. So we need to do something. But Maureen, you are also a leader. You're a spiritual leader. And in terms of leadership and climate emergency, what are the personal most important qualities in terms of leadership in times of crisis and chaos?
Thank you for the question, and thank you for so clearly saying what is an emergency. It's real, it's here. And I was on another panel, not here, but a couple of weeks ago, and there was somebody from Caritas who's working in Bangladesh, and he said every year a third of the country goes underwater. It's just happening everywhere. And I think at times of crisis, it is important to act, but it's important to act with a cool head. And when people panic, then it actually can make things worse. As a leader, and I have to wonder about this word leadership, because it's not that you're there telling people or you're there controlling something, but you're actually galvanizing the wisdom that is there, that everybody has together for the best outcome. But okay, if you are in that position of responsibility, let's put it like that, the first thing is to be calm, because we need to use our wisdom that we have inside to be able to respond. To try and figure things out at a time of crisis, I find anyway, on a logical level, is sometimes impossible because it's beyond logic. But to bring wisdom with a calm head, a cool head, and a compassionate heart, somehow you can see solutions, or you can see ways of working that perhaps you haven't seen before. But if there's panic, it's not easy, because the tendency is to panic, of course. Then it's very difficult that the situation remains chaotic. So yes, and I think this is where a spiritual practice is so helpful, because if you have that spiritual practice on a regular basis, then at times of crisis, you're going to be more likely to be able to, in a sense, lead yourself before leading others. So I would say these are the important qualities.
Interesting. So if you feel the panic coming, do you have an immediate advice what to do? Because meditation is often over a long term, right? True, and today in the COP there was demonstrations, and I feel people are panicking, but they're also angry at the same time.
Yes.
So if you feel it's coming, what do you do?
Well, I'm not
breathe,
yes. And I have, and I mean, I'm not immune to that, because especially when you see injustice, you and yes, a deep breath, but I would put it another way. It's a deep breath, and it's taking a pause. It can just be seconds, but you just put a little bit of a gap between you and the situation so you can get perspective. Otherwise, if you don't do that, you just get caught up in the emotion. So yes, just taking that pause and remembering that we have resources inside. And so this is what we have to rely on at that moment. We've had, so many situations. I remember when the tsunami hit a long time ago, we had our centers, Brahma Kumaris centers in Sri Lanka, and we were getting their reports, and they said that we were keeping calm, and they were explaining what they were doing and how they were helping people around them. But they said it was so necessary to create that atmosphere of calm. Otherwise you couldn't even, they said we can't even look at the faces of our neighbors. They're so full of fear. We have to do something to bring that calm. So it's a very marked thing that we have to do. Yeah.
So Andre, it's very interesting to have a Brazilian with us here in the studio. And I wondered, all these preparations for COP, has it in any way affected or increased the awareness of the average Brazilian here? And you're also from the council, right? Salvador Council. What have the council done for preparing for the COP, and what will your activities be here in Belém?
Yeah, I think so. I think the average people in Brazil have a great opportunity to take contact with the climate change issues, with the climate change questions, because COP30 was really in all platforms.
It was what?
In all platforms.
No platforms.
In your smartphone, in the news in the smartphone, was in the TV, was in the radio. So, in some cases, everyone in Brazil, everybody in Brazil, listened about the COP, something. So what's COP? People know what's COP, people know what is climate change and how it affects your life. But what the challenge for me is that how does we can transform this knowledge, this contact with the climate change issues in action? How people will understand the connection between the daily lives. How, for example, if do not rain, Brazil, the electricity taxes goes up. But people don't think about it. Because when the electricity taxes goes up, everything gets more expensive. Everything. So food gets more expensive. So inflation comes. And who does it affect more? The poor people.
Yeah.
The poor
So
people, yeah.
how to make these links and connections for the average people understand this and transform this into action, transform this into votes, transform this into mobilization, transform this in pressure to the government. There in our mandate in City Council, we really like to do some things with activism. We make activism with art.
Activity art.
Activism. So, for example, we made some simulations. We got some pictures of the city of Salvador, and we made some simulations about the sea level rise. How will be the city if the sea level rise? How will be our culture? How will be our streets, our lives? Another thing we did was a rhyme battle with young people about climate change. So we put climate change questions, and they have to rhyme.
And they have to rhyme.
That was a very nice
Yeah.
project we did.
Yeah.
Another one, we made a store. So when we get inside the store, we get some products with data about the impact of climate change. So, for example, a package of cookie was not a package of cookie. It was a package of, it was something like the sea level rise up to 3 meters will get some problem. Lots of data in these packages, like a market, like a store. So people get inside, was looking, how was it, and get away with thinking about this data, these questions about climate change. So lots of installations of art we did in the past years, trying to get a different way to send the message, to leave the message for the people.
So I have known scientists often using art to help them communicate their messages, and I'm very happy to hear the politicians also using art. And here in the studio, just before you, was a young artist actually.
I'm not an artist.
No, but you can bring it.
Yes, yeah.
Because we are artists
Yeah.
creating our story and
Yes,
our life.
we are artists. Our team, let's think about this.
Yeah.
And we,
Very good.
but I like,
Yeah.
I really like art.
Very good. So just before we talked about the climate emergency and the seriousness of the situation, and We also know that there is not an emergency only on the outside, but also on the inside. We talked about the panic. And in tonight's title also talk about leadership with compassion. So can you share your thoughts, Maureen, on guiding change with compassion? Not only peace that we talked about before, but compassion also. Yeah.
Compassion is a very important quality because compassion enables us to be inclusive, to have understanding, and to realize that there really is people are very traumatized in the world today. And it could be from their families, it could be from a climate change situation, they may be climate refugees. There are many different situations that people face. And when you face, and you know, they say about trauma, I'm not an expert, so I'm just relating basic principles, that it's not so much about what happens to you, but about how you react to what happens to you and how deep a scar that can leave. And so I'm quite aware when people have different, perhaps negative behaviors, maybe they get angry, very fearful, maybe they get jealous, maybe they get egotistical in wanting to prove themselves or take position. I'm very aware that there's something that's hurting them inside. And so let me not condemn them and say, oh, look, this one is like that, this one is like that. But let me be compassionate. And I really do, I've experienced it, certainly myself, that when you have those kind of feelings and that kind of awareness, it actually reaches people, it touches people. Because when people are negative, they expect you to respond in a similar way. But with compassion, when you respond compassionately, it actually touches their heart. And so if we are to move together through this, and, you know, there are many more things to face, let's be honest about it. It's not that suddenly the whole, you know, environmental situation is going to become better. There's a lot more for us to face. But compassion enables us to be together and to truly support each other. So I think it's a very important quality in leadership.
Thank you. Yeah, it just touches our heart hearing about it, isn't it? Yeah. And maybe you can even say that peace and compassion are kind of ethical principles. And the Brazilian presidency have launched this global ethical stocktake. And they are asking governments, they are asking institutions, business, civil society, and to reflect if our actions are truly aligned with the ethical principles. And I wonder, will you continue this work with ethics in a specific way, or is the Council already working on ethical principles, or is this just something that is made for COP, or will it continue?
Well, I hope that this be a legacy for this COP, from this COP, for the next world, because it's very important for us. In our work in the City Council, we always made some questions before any project, any action. Is it good for who? How will it affect people? How does it helps to the climate change crisis? How does it affect the plants, the planet, the environment, the people? And these questions are always questions that we made before in projects. And we always think projects to be a law project or an action project with these questions before. So after we do the project. So I think this innovation that the Brazilian presidents of the COP30 brought, I think it's, I really hope that make this be a legacy for the COPs, for the UNFCCC, the next ones, because, okay, we have the NDCs, we have some action, but how, for example, the energy transition, we have some problems here in Brazil about this. So, for example, we can make some big plants of photovoltaic energy. But these big plants are getting off the forest to do some things. And the people, we have this solar, this wind
Wind power.
wind power, also big and big. So to get in the communities, lots of problems, lots of questions. So is it good? Yeah, but maybe not so good. So if the answer for these questions are to, it's good for whom? How does it affect the climate? How does it affect the communities? If these answers are not, we have not good answers, we should not do the projects, do the action.
And not only how it affects the community and the consequences, but there is a short-term consequence and there is a long-term consequence, right? Yeah. Very interesting to hear.
That is a dilemma, because also even, say, wind power, the turbines only last for so many years, and then, you know, they have to be, so everything takes energy and resources. Yeah, it's a very big thing to consider. Yeah.
So I was thinking maybe we can ask Maureen to guide a meditation on how to live with dilemmas. Because only for us coming here to Belgium, we have polluted so much, right, and increased our carbon footprint. And it's a dilemma. Everything you do today is a dilemma. How to live with dilemmas, Maureen.
Exactly, because even before coming, the number of people who wrote to me to say, do you know about this road that has been, you know, I know.
Is there any meditation moments during the camp?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, we do meditation moments.
I try to do meditation.
Yeah.
Yes.
I try to.
You try.
I try.
Yeah.
So we can have another try together now.
Yeah,
And she will guide.
Let's go.
Okay, yes.
So first, meditation is a journey of our thoughts. Can I become the master of my mind and generate thoughts of my choosing that will bring peace? I turn my thoughts within to discover my inner resources, my spiritual treasures, and the first treasure that I discover is that of peace. I am a being of peace. And this peace cannot be disturbed by anything external. It is my original state of being. And in this state of peace, I discover the treasure of love, the treasure of wisdom, I remind myself that this is my true identity. I'm a being of peace and love and wisdom. And I allow these qualities to guide me through my decision making, through my words, through my actions, so that I create an atmosphere of peace, an environment of love, and I use my inner wisdom to benefit not only myself, but every living being. Whatever is within is reflected without. And as we maintain our inner peace, so we bring peace and equilibrium to the world around us.
Thank you. That was beautiful. A very nice way of ending a conversation around peace and compassion. So thank you to both of you for a very inspiring evening. And I do think we did care, we did share, and we did inspire. So very good.
Good.
Yes, and thank you to all listeners for being with us, and special thanks to all volunteers behind the scene and to our supporters. And tomorrow evening we have the same talk show, Climate Wisdom from Belém. So most welcome to come back tomorrow evening. And if you want more information, you can look at our webpage, echo.brahmakumaris.org. So thank you very much and good evening from the Amazonas.